You're listening to Kane, Randy, and Brooke on Scratch the Vinyl.
Scratch the vinyl.
All right, everybody. Welcome back to Scratch the Vinyl. You made it back for another week, and we're no longer surprised that you guys come back. You guys just keep coming back. It's like we almost like kick you guys down like the dog that we didn't want, but we really do want you guys. You guys keep coming back anyway because you love us so much and we appreciate it. We love you. And so I gotta say, everybody, you guys have been showing the love on last week's episode. We got into a conversation with Justin Powell, Flames, and he started alluding to Prince, and so we got into a long discussion about Prince and how is Prince possibly a top 10 guitar player of all time. I don't know. I think he might be up there for some people. I'm not necessarily saying I'm in that camp, but what I have noticed is that there are two distinct camps when it comes to Prince, and we're starting to get the internet trolls, and we'll take them to, the trolls come out, they say nasty things about us, about this or that, only because they're angry about Prince. And I don't get it. Like, I don't know why people would be so upset about Prince, but there's an obvious line in the sand. So I want to bring my other hosts on right away. I want to get Randy in on this because I know how passionate he is about all of this. So let's get the chill man himself, the entertainment god in this town, Godzilla that is, and he is knocking down buildings and taking names. Randy, how do you feel about this divide when it comes to Prince right now with all these comments?
Well, first off, you already know which camp I'm in. Dude, Prince is one of the best guitar players of all time. Just because he didn't flex all the time and try to show it off, he proved it time and time again in everything he did, in every song, in every performance. And then he just proved it on the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame stage in front of what most people consider some of the best guitar players of all time. And when you ask them, they tell you that Prince was the best guitar player of all time. So I'm not saying he's number one. I'm just saying he's in the discussion all the time as one of the best guitar players ever.
He deserves to be in the discussion at least. Okay. Now there's people chiming in, commenting, saying top 5, which is wild. I mean, there's people who are very passionate about this, but I know something that our other host, Brooke Big Red Johnson, is going to be passionate about or maybe not passionate about, is these internet trolls. So let's bring her on right now. Let's bring on the Big Red Machine herself, Brooke. I want you to weigh in, not just on Prince, but how does that make you feel? You know what I mean? It's knowing that these people are, there's some people who said, there's one guy in particular I had to block because he said some really nasty things about us just for talking about Prince being a top tenor. What do you think about that?
Well, I pretty much don't read it. If it's going to be mean, I don't really need that in my life. And just keep scrolling, that doesn't really affect me. So many things in my life are way more important than caring what some troll said. I'd rather eat rocks. They can kick them. So.
Well, don't really. John 856 in his grandma's basement, lathering himself up in baby oil. And that's not a real name, of course, but I'm just saying, like, it just doesn't make any sense to me. Like, we don't want that karma. We don't want that smoke, everybody. We just want to talk music. And if Prince gets you so upset to talk about that, it's so ridiculous. So let's keep it positive, everybody. Let's continue to, I am excited because you guys are piling in the views. You guys are commenting on this stuff on our Instagram, on our TikTok, especially on our YouTube. We appreciate that. But let's keep it positive, everybody. That's why we do this show, for music and the love of music and what it does for us. What you do with the trolling, what that does for us, it makes me want to start the lawnmower and turn it up and then run my head straight into it. Okay. Like, I don't want any part of that. Was a really gruesome scene to paint, but I'm just saying, like, I don't want any part of it at all.
Yeah, absolutely not. Live, laugh, love. Listen, scratch.
Not to mention, we had an absolutely wonderful interview with Justin Powell that day. And it was a great topic, and he was very well informed on it and shared his feelings about all that, which only reminds me of we bring on great guests. So, Kane, who do we got today?
We have another awesome guest. I tell you guys this all the time because I only book all the most awesomest of the awesome from this area and beyond. And I'm just so excited. I'm actually a fan of these. I'll bet this guy doesn't know this, but I'm actually a fan of Vempire, the band that he's in. I'm already a fan of theirs before I even knew about this guy, before I even talked to him. And then when I like dug into it and I looked, I was like, oh my gosh, he's like one of, one of the two in Vempire, which I currently listen to all the time. I love dark synth music. I dig it so much. And he's not only been in that, he had a stint in the Killigans, which I've been told millions of musicians now have been had a stint in the Killigans. Also, the JV Allstars, which I'm also a big fan of. I know I'm not a adolescent girl from 2000s, but I dig pop punk and I just love everything that this guy's done. So let's bring him on right now. We've got Mikey Elfers, or Mike Elfers if you want to be more professional about it. How are you doing, Mike?
Or Bonesaw. Hi, how are you?
Bonesaw is such somebody. I mean, you told us before the show started that you met a guy who called himself Bonesaw. Now, I think we all need the coolest nicknames like that. Like, I want to be Boner Garage, and Randy can be something, and Brooke can be something. We all need
Ham Wallet.
Ham Wallet. I like
Ham
that.
Wallet. I think it's gonna be my band name. My sister and I, the Ham Wallets. I don't
Now,
know.
I remember Bonesaw now because he was a semi-professional arena football enthusiast, and he, I think, was pushing some sort of an arena football thing in the Kansas City area, and that's why he went by Bonesaw. But I don't, for the life of me, know his real name or if he's still around. This is 2004 I'm talking about, probably. So if Bonesaw, if you're our listener.
Is it crazy that I actually played arena football during that time?
Well, maybe
Down
it
in
was
Kansas
a thing.
City? It was a thing.
Are you Bonesaw?
I'm not Bonesaw.
We found out what you are.
I'm definitely not Bonesaw.
That's your superhero. Your Bonesaw.
I think Bonesaw might be our internet troll. I think that he's like a regular listener and he's just super not into Prince. And that's what I think. So Bonesaw, if you're out there, please stop the hate, my friend.
Yep. Just be kind in the chat group, please.
He only wrote the best Cyndi Lauper song ever, so get off.
That's right. Yeah, I can't say it enough. I just don't get why people would be so upset about that. I wonder if he's like they're like big Michael Jackson fans. Remember you saying this last week, Randy, about how the camps kind of divide at Michael Jackson too. And then like you kind of see that there's this big rivalry. I think that the world can have both of them. I mean, neither of them are here now, but I'm saying we can love both of them equally and realize their contributions to music are going to last forever.
Well, I think the true music fans get that. Like, I grew up during that time. I love both for different reasons, but there definitely was this competition edge there because and honestly, Prince tried to separate himself to even put out what was different than what Michael was doing. But they were competing for the same audience and the same dollars. That's for sure.
Let's dig into to Mikey's stuff right now. I also forgot to mention another great band that I love, which is Pure Brown. He's part of that as well. And we had Tom Edelman on, and now he's been enshrined in the STV Hall of Fame, and you will too, Mikey, just for being on the show. But man, I love everything you do. I mean, it's the synth sounds, all of that stuff just really hits me hard. It reminds me of, like Pure Brown, of sitting around playing Nintendo for hours and hours on end and loving all that music. So let me ask you this first. Like, let's start from the beginning. Why did you kind of gravitate to that type of stuff? Because you started out playing kind of like pop punk and everything, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I always equate it to, well, one, like Moogs and synthesizers and stuff were just not accessible. But you can play Blink-182 with a guitar, and your friend that doesn't know how to play instruments can play bass, and then you just got to find a drummer and you're set. Um, but my earliest memory, literally, is dancing in my living room to my dad's Cars record, to the like synthesizer on Just What I Needed. And I remember really enjoying it. And I was kind of pogoing around on the ground, and then I kneed myself in the face. I was like dancing with my dad, jumping around. And then my dad picked me up, and I was crying because I had kneed myself in the face. And I remember thinking to myself, I mean, I was like 4, but I remember thinking like, oh man, I'm crying. And I like this song a lot. And I don't want my dad to associate me crying to how awesome this song is. I remember that very specifically. So, I mean, there's a lot of people that like the Blue Album by Weezer that don't understand the Rick Ocasek and synthesizer elements that make that album so delicious for your brain. But I was aware of it. And so it's always been somewhere in my brain, this obsession with synths and stuff, and how they can make us feel a certain way.
I was listening to a little bit of it and a lot of it. And there was one called Zelda is the Girl.
Mm.
I really like that one a lot. Where'd that come from?
That was well, I mean, so I joined Pure Brown as an already established band that needed a new bass player. And as a Nintendo enthusiast myself, I didn't have to dig super deep into my brain to learn the melody to, a song from Legend of Zelda, or like we're working on a Super Mario medley right now. That stuff's kind of somewhere in all of our brains from, as Kane put it, playing the same level over and over again for hours and hours in our childhood. So deep in our muscle memory, we all know how those songs go. But Pure Brown has offered really a relief to an obsession that I have about playing local music, in which I have notoriously pissed off most of my friends that I've played music with over the years, because I can't stop. So I'm up at 2 a.m. thinking about it and working on it, and usually text messaging my drummer or Lindsay from Vempire or something. Pure Brown is like, hey, we're learning Battletoads and Double Dragon for the NES. It's all on YouTube. You can slow down the video and like really focus on the bass lines, some of which were drawn by a computer programmer and not a musician. I think Tom talked about this. You can kind of tell which songs are composed by people that are incredibly into classical music, and which ones were given a certain amount of notes you can hit to save a certain amount of space on a cartridge. Nonetheless, I've really enjoyed learning these bass lines for Pure Brown because I can do it. And the only people that I'm affecting, besides my sleep schedule, are my 2 dogs and my wife, if I happen to wake her up with a bass line. But for the most part, it's just kind of me nerding out in my basement, learning how to do this without bothering anybody.
Mike, you're involved in so much stuff over the years. Let's try to give our listeners a little bit of background, kind of how you started and what got you into music, and lead us into that, if you would.
Okay. I grew up in a musical family. I've been thinking about that a lot with my daughter because she's in 3rd grade and she's very musical. And my parents did a really good job of like having all the stuff available, but not pushing me to do it. I think they knew that if they tried to get me to play guitar, I'd play football or something. So I used to borrow my dad's guitar to kind of just listen to Nirvana and beat the shit out of it when I was a 3rd and 4th grader. And then one day the right notes started to come out of the guitar. And again, I think that's my father's DNA because he's a great guitar player. But from that point, I wanted to be in a band with my peers and my friends. And we gravitated towards pop punk music. And I played in a band with my best friends called Same Old Crap. And we were okay. We could make it through a whole set without screwing up so terribly that we had to stop a song in the middle, which is the goal. we started playing shows in Lincoln, Nebraska. I was living in Wayne, going to high school there. And I met one of my best friends, Nick Tarlowski, and he was in a little 3-piece band called JV Allstars. And him and I got real close. And at one point, I saw an opening and I said, "You guys need a second guitar player. Everybody's doing it." Around the time my little high school band was kind of fizzling out and everybody was doing other things, I joined JV Allstars as the second guitar player. And we wrote a whole lot of records and did a whole lot of traveling together and a lot of intimate nights in a van together. And we did that until, I mean, we never really broke up. We just got busy with life and mortgages and children and wives and careers. And so around that time, I started kind of doing my own things that I could do from my apartment at the time. And it's at that time that I started Thirst Things First, which we can get into. But yeah, then from that point on, it kind of just became big local shows that I look forward to playing with the multitude of bands I've had the pleasure of playing with from that point on.
I would like to back up really quick about Pierre Brown because I texted this to the boys last night. This cover right here that you have,
Mm-hmm.
there's a vinyl, there's a Nebraska poster, you have all of the Nintendo stuff. Who created this? This is pretty badass.
I want to say Tom, but I don't know the answer. But that being said, we're making a little video right now for YouTube, and while we were recording with a bunch of multicams, I have like a Chat GPT trial on my phone because I just upgraded my iPhone. And I was taking pictures around Tom's weird log cabin house that he lives in, where we practice, and I kept taking pictures and then telling Chat GPT to make it look like a Super Nintendo game. And every time it was like a picture of his bicycle and a piano behind it with tennis balls sitting on it. And all of these Super Nintendo-ified AI images are going to be in our video somewhere at some point, I think, because they're so silly. Tom is his aesthetic is as rich as his personality and his positivity. And I'm not saying that to suck up to a guy that runs a band I just joined. He's just an incredibly unique person that once you know, you kind of get a really good idea of his stamp that he has on the world. And I think I kind of equate that vinyl cover with the way I feel about that.
It's pretty cool. So he's not Bonesaw, though. We know that for a fact. He
is not Bonesaw. I met him much later in my life and had a much easier time becoming close with.
That's pretty cool. Well, that is cool. You were in a plethora or have been in so many bands and you're very, very talented. I do want to know though, if you could just anybody whoever inspired you, whether it was an actual musician that's, super famous or like your dad, like who would you like to hang out for a day? Anybody and get to know their wisdom or their craziness about music to kind of just to get their wisdom a little bit. Would there be anybody you'd like to hang out with for a day?
Oh goodness. Well, my parents moved to Lincoln 2 Octobers ago, and I go out to lunch with my dad about once a week. And he lived in Wayne for so fucking long that like he's like, "What are we getting today?" And I'm like, "Taco Inn." And he's like, "Never heard of it. What is it?" And I'm like, "Shitty tacos." And he's like, "Awesome." So we get to talk alone about parenting and music and stuff during our little lunches, and that's been really nice. I got to like Zoom interview a lot of my heroes and stuff over the years doing music journalism and stuff, and I've met some people that I grew up listening to quite obsessively. There was a pop punk band called Homegrown that I used to listen to. Their record was the record that JV Allstars listened to on the last 30 minutes of our drive home from every tour we ever did. They'd have this record called Kings of Pop that's kind of tongue in cheek, and it's this beautiful pop punk record. They really kind of perfected that sound. The bass player from that band, Adam, and I interviewed him so many times, and I had so many questions that once he finally realized I wasn't like gonna chop off his face and wear it or something, I think that we became friends. So it is weird, when you meet people that you look up to and you get to know them well enough that they just become your peers and not your heroes anymore. And then there's some people, like the princes and the more elusive and more humongous characters. I don't know that I want to know them. I think it might even be better, just the mystique might be better than getting to know them and finding out their political affiliations or their opinions about certain things, or maybe how cranky or buttholed they might be.
So it sounds like you have like they're all very intimate people that that you do hang out with and get to listen to and learn from. So Adam, your friend, if you had an album in your past when you first met him, album today, and an album in the future, what would the titles of each one of them be that Adam would give you?
Oh God. Well, so Homegrown just started playing shows again, kind of based off of this like pop punk nostalgia, emo night craziness. JV Allstars wanted to sound like Homegrown so much, and I've told him this in as friendly of a way as I can, but we set out so much to sound exactly like a band that never really made it. And so, of course, what did you think happened to us? Like, we didn't make it either. So that is a good question. I don't know. At some point, the lines got very blurred, and now when I write my own music and my own projects, I'm setting out to make my favorite record, or something that I wouldn't want to put down, and not in a conceited way, hopefully, but in a way of pride and retrospective. I've seen a lot of shit, and I've lost a lot of people because I'm 41 now, and that's when that starts happening. So I'm kind of thinking about music more looking back while looking forward. That sounds like a stoner answer, but I'm going to stick with that one.
No, I think that's actually kind of spot on, to be honest with you. We've kind of experienced that. Me and Kane have talking about our process of how we got into music and our writing process and stuff like that. And you play a lot of instruments, don't you? Like you cover a lot of different stuff, don't you?
Yeah, uh, I think everybody wants to play drums, but I was always a guitar player. My brother Jordan plays in a universe contest and Thirst Things First, and like him and I kind of sat down and decided we were both going to learn how to play drums at the same time. And then in Lincoln, drummers are so hard to come by that, especially him, he became kind of a necessity to the local music scene here. Just the fact that he can drum. Yeah, that's another thing. The more instruments you play, the more you start thinking outside of the box and thinking, I remember being very young and being like, I don't like this song. I don't like playing this song with this band. And then I remember just being old and mature enough and multi-instrumental enough to be like, oh, this is like a sweet song for the drummer to play. So I should get off my high horse and stop being a little bitch about it. So I did start a synth band that Kane really wants to talk about. And I realized very quickly that I didn't want to stand on stage and look like a fucking dingus while I was doing it. So I kind of learned how to play the piano ish. And in Vempire, I play synth and sing kind of. I sing backup vocals. We played at the Zoo Bar on Friday. And I remember that this was kind of one of the first times that I was like, okay, I think I can say I play synth in this band now and not feel like a total poser.
Well, I want you to know I'm kind of an old school like that. Like you were talking about the Cars and to me like Depeche Mode and just there's a lot of those synth punk feel like guys like me, that was like we had to be kind of closet about it, but we really loved it.
Mhm.
And I was going through, a lot of the songs that you guys have put out, and man, I love that vibe. I just still love that vibe.
I'd like to think that if you listen to all the bands that I play in currently, including the Killigans, if you read between the lines, you'll see me standing in a crowd at a show on tour with JVA, being positive to everyone around me, whether I like their music or not, because they might have a floor that we can sleep on that night, and just trying to find a way I like the Killigans because they can fall into the like Celtic thing, but I've seen so many Celtic bands that sound exactly the same. And so I like that the Killigans challenge themselves to not just like fall into this endless void of subpar Celtic rock bands. There's Things First and Vempire have visual stuff that I would hope if I was 20 and watching on tour that would entertain me more than yet another band covering all the small things by Blink-182. And Pure Brown is of itself a band that I would have seen on tour and been like, oh, all of these people are more talented than I will ever be. This is nice.
It's how it is when I listen to like Tom Edelman or anything that he's in. It just seems like, why do I even try on guitar and when
Yeah,
I was like that, you know it?
me playing the bass, like me playing guitar solos on a bass as hard as I possibly can makes me good enough to be the bass player in Pure Brown. So Jesse and Tom are on a completely different level. They know how to do things that at one point I looked at as a guitar player and said like, I'm not going to, I could play all the Rage Against the Machine songs. And I think that's where I like said I was good enough for myself. They're nuts on guitar.
It's not a bad area to play though. If you can play all of Rage, you can kind of say, hey, you know, for yourself, I'm doing pretty good. That's when I started playing guitar and getting really into it. Rage was one of the first bands, you know, trying to mimic everything that Tom Morello does and everything, which nobody really does it like him. But
Mhm.
just to drop down, play drop D and different tunings and play some of the riffs that they play feels so nice.
Yeah. And I taught Academy of Rock for a long time. And at the time that I did it, like Dragon Force had become a popular band. And so all of these students of mine, like little middle schoolers, would be like, hey, can you teach me how to play this guitar solo on Dragon Force? And it was just like rapid fire finger tapping and stuff. And I'd be like, no. And at one point there were, you know, seventh graders that were better at finger tapping than me, but then they like couldn't play Brain Stew by Green Day to save their life, which is 4 power chords, right? Like my grandma could play that. So I also am old enough to just kind of recognize there were moments in my life where it was just like, oh, music is changing and I'm probably going to adapt in some ways and not in others. And I don't want to be left in the dust. Most of the old guys that still play in bands in Lincoln, for example, we're surrounded by incredibly talented people that are 4, 5, 10, 20 years younger than us. And I could either like be really judgy about that or be a little jerk, but I'm really impressed by everybody that I share the stage with. And sometimes it's okay if I'm not the center of attention, you know. I am today though.
You are today, as you should be. And, you know, that's the thing about well, you're talking about the talent in this area. The talent in this area is ridiculous. And I mean ridiculous in a good way. It's like some of these kids coming up are going to really burn it down one of these days. And I hope, and no offense, and I was in cover bands, I hope that people gravitate more towards the original bands because I love the original scene that we have. And there's a place for the cover bands. Yeah, I mean, trust me, I made plenty of money doing it, traveling, doing all sorts of things. But that being said, I get the most gratification out of doing my original stuff, whether it sucks or not. You know what I mean? Like doing my originals, playing them, unveiling them to people. I mean, we were talking about the synth stuff. I actually have I have a synth thing that a project that I do called Neon Mannequin, and I have a probably really terrible demo out there that you guys are welcome to listen to if you want. But I get so much gratification out of it, like playing all the different synth sounds and mixing in guitar. And it's just a certain type of thing. But I want to ask you, who are some of the bands that you kind of idolize in that genre? Like I personally dig like Drab Majesty, and also I like the Midnight, Gunship, Haunt Me. There's just so many good groups in those areas of that genre, but there's so many subgenres. So who do you
Mhm.
like the most?
Oh God. Well, the one thing I'll say, and I'm trying to like do the cool musician guy thing and use Tidal to listen to music now because it like treats the artist better. And because of that, their application doesn't have near as much psychotic spyware in it as like Spotify. Um, but around the time that I really started kind of digging deep into Depeche Mode and stuff, there was a point, and I'm a software writer, so I appreciate technology and algorithms and all this stuff. But there was a moment around the time my daughter was being born. So yeah, like about 10 years ago, where I was like, man, Spotify has me figured out so much and it's kind of creepy. Let's challenge this. And every time Spotify suggested something to me, I was like, damn it, I like this too. And I'm a pretty like positive dude, I guess. I'm not super opinionated, but like time and time and time again, songs would come on by random artists I've never heard of, and it would like touch me emotionally. And I would just, okay, this is getting out of control. Lindsay in Vempire and I shared, we each made each other little Spotify playlists of like what we wanted our project to maybe sound like. And at that time, I think I had like a demo of something that kind of sounded like Nine Inch Nails or something. And she had recorded, she just posted an Instagram story one day of her like picking up an acoustic guitar and kind of singing pretty into it. She plays bass in a band called Ghost Like, where she's just kind of started singing a little bit, but it's kind of a loud shoegaze band. And so she's singing over a powerful drummer and rhythm section. So that was the first time I ever heard her sing like kind of in falsetto and like focus on tone and stuff. And I replied to that Instagram story and said, hey, dude, do you want to start a band? And she said, yeah, of course. And so we traded these Spotify playlists back and forth. And by the time I had listened to her 10 songs and the 10 songs I chose, Spotify was even further up my ass. Like, hey, so there's so many artists that I'm sure this happens to you guys if you listen to streaming services like this. Well, the three things happen. Oh, Soft Kill is some band from like the 80s or something. They're like a newer band. I didn't know that because they sound so authentic, but I really like this band called Soft Kill. And then I'd find a band that I thought was new, like Talk. And then I'd find out that they started in the 70s and I'm a poser. And then since we're also old, I'll go, oh my God, Men Without Hats just put out a new record. And someone's like, really? And I'm like, yeah. They're like, well, when did they do it? Well, like last year? I'm like, no, it was like 2008. And they're like, dude, that was like 20 years ago. And I'm like, oh, shit. Okay. But I'm really into, I grew up on the BMG Music Club and like the Columbia House where you accidentally made your parents pay $75 for one Oasis CD because you were tricked by the advertisements. So living in Wayne, not having a store available to buy CDs, my little brother and I were stuck with albums that we bought based on impulse or an MTV music video or just old-fashioned advertising. And rather than be upset about it, we kind of became little hipsters. We like found the deep cuts on Bush's sophomore record that are actually good songs that no one's ever going to hear or listen to intentionally. So that is just kind of a way I study music. So I listen to Aha deep cuts and I listen to Men Without Hats deep cuts, Human League deep cuts. There's hundreds of Human League songs that don't belong on the radio that are influential to me in Thirsting's First and in Vempire. So I'll say that was my answer.
Man, I love that. Like you're just tapping on kind of what this show is all about and how we kind of go through life and go through these periods of music and how we learn what we really like just because we stumble on this deep cut album and it's kind of what me and Kane talk about all the time. It's always what has connected us is, yeah, I mean, we go to the record store and we're like kids in a candy store. You know, we just dig through everything, and you explained it perfectly. Like I don't know if I could have got a better explanation from anybody else than what you just said.
All right, we're having so much fun. I didn't want to have to do this, but well, yes, I do. I love doing the local roundup, and I love running that Elegant Sasquatch ad. So let's run that ad right now, and then let's go ahead and do the local roundup and get you guys to the places that you need to go this weekend so that your plans are already made for you. Let's do it.
Dude, last night was a rager. I literally don't remember anything. What happened and why do our beards smell so bad?
It all started when a Sasquatch came out of the woods. He was doing keg stands, he DJ'd the party for a while, he even brought a live skunk to hang out. It was epic. It was getting late when Sasquatch's skunk friend decided to spray his pungent odor everywhere. Now our beards smell like rotten eggs and trash.
Don't worry, friend.
Ah! Is that you, Sasquatch?
It's me, your boy Squatch. Have no fear, my nose-melting follicle friends. I have just what you're looking for to get the skunk stench out of those skunktified beards. The Elegant Sasquatch Beard Company has all sorts of balms, butters, oils, and washes to turn you from skunk to hunk in no time.
Oh, bro, this is a trip. I feel like I'm dreaming, man. I'm gonna go back to bed.
Well, pinch yourself now because you're not dreaming, my friend. I'm here to tell you about all the great things going on at the Elegant Sasquatch Beard Company.
Oh, tell me you have something to help us with these smelly beards.
Not only do I have something for that, but I have so much more. Head on over to elegantsasquatchco.etsy.com to check out the shop and look at all the different beard balms, butters, oils, face washes, and bundles that we have to offer. In addition to all of our great prices, if you mention the Scratch the Vinyl podcast with Scratch30 at checkout, you'll get an additional 30% off of your order.
Oh, man, this beard wash is amazing, and these oils smell so good I could drink it.
Oh, you foolish little human. That's not what they're talking about with hair of the dog.
But seriously, Squatch, these scents are amazing. I already smell better.
Well, on that note, it's time to grab another beer and, oh, it looks like our friend the skunk just arrived. It's time to party. I call dibs on the first game of beer pong.
Oh, yeah, everybody. Throw those hands in the air and rejoice. It's the local roundup once again. So let's get started. First off, we got to get started at the Bourbon Theater. This is a big one. Brooke and I are going to be there. We're tearing the place down with Dirt Fed. Dirt Fed is going to be at the Bourbon at 7 p.m. And honestly, this show is going to melt your face off. I can't believe they're back, and we are so pumped. There was Section 8 in Layton. So that is Saturday at the Bourbon Theater. Get there, everybody. Those tickets are not that bad at all. They made them super affordable. Let's go over to the Zoo Bar. The Zoo Bar's got a ton of stuff going on. As always, our friend, he's the bartender. He's the guy. He's the slacker man himself. David Raby. We were just on his show. And this one, like all of them, are definitely for you, my friend. So Friday night at 5 p.m., they've got Mark Stewart. Mark Stewart is a 6-string master class taking place there, so get there for that. Then at 9 p.m., the later show, they've got Swall Pope, they've got Happy John, and Joe Magnolia. So that's an action-packed show. Saturday night at the Zoo Bar, they've got, it looks like they don't have an early show that I see listed, so they have Head Change at 9 p.m. So don't miss out on Head Change. That's going to be amazing. Let's roll on over to Cappy's now. We're going to kind of bounce back and forth, so Cappy's has got, it looks like, I think this is Friday. At Cap, you'll have to check on this, but I know this weekend at Cappy's, 8:30 p.m., no cover show. They've got arcade radio playing, so that should be pretty fun. I think that's Saturday. So Friday night, it looks like they've got the 402 at Cappy's. So 402, those guys are awesome. I can't think of a cooler show than that. Well, there is another cool show, actually. This is one of our favorite bands out there at the Keg. The Keg at 8 p.m. on Friday night. They've got Hell to Pay. So get over there and tell those boys hi for us. We love that band so much. What else do we got? Here's a different one that we haven't read before. This one's at Union Plaza at 6 p.m. This is the Hub and Soul Music Series. So you guys are gonna have to check the details on that, check the old deets, and figure out what you need for that and what to do. So go there. And then here's something else that I think is important to list is it's not live music, but it is vinyl related. So at White Elm on Saturday at 4 p.m., the White Elm Brewing Co., they have got a happy hour going on that will be memorable. Maybe I'll even be there. I don't know. They're selling vinyls new and used there. So they're going to have a nice little vinyl swap meet for you. So that sounds like a blast. Check the other places. Check Duffy's and bodegas and all this. Like, really, you guys should just do the bar crawl. But I want you guys to find Brooke and I. We're going to be like, where's Waldo out there? I want you to find us out in the wild. We're going to be downtown and we're going to be ready to party and ready to mingle with all you people, high five you, give you hugs, and tell you to your face to listen to vinyl. So let's get back to our awesome interview with our guest, Mike Elfers.
Well, so, okay, there's a band called Nada Surf, and they had a song called Popular, and the video was shot in a school, and it was this really weird kind of punk rock song. The guy doesn't sing at all. He narrates every verse. It's an obnoxious song. My brother and I got that record at a very young age. That record came out in 95, I think, so I was a fifth grader. We were stuck with it. It was the record that we bought that month at the record store or whatever. Our dad, like, let us buy one CD. So, like, rather than be all butthurt that the rest of the record didn't sound like that song, we slowly realized, man, the rest of this is like kind of like indie rock, Beach Boys influenced. I don't even, indie rock wasn't a term, obviously, in 95, but so Nada Surf is one of my favorite bands ever. Like, I love that band. They still put out music. They don't even play that MTV song when they play live because they don't have to. Their fans are there to hear what they actually sound like. We were like #blessed by being stuck with that record for 29 days and being forced to like just find a way to enjoy it. And I don't know. So that was God, that's something I've carried with me when I've heard a new band. It's just like there's something in here for me, especially if I'm stuck with it.
I'm so glad you brought up Nada Surf. I know the other hosts, I'm looking at them and they're smiling because I just saw Nada Surf not too long ago in Omaha. And and that was like one of my favorite shows in a long time. And I've been to some pretty good shows here the last few years. And I got to talk to the lead singer after the show. And he and I were talking about singing tips. And like he wanted to know about the bands I play in. And it was like, how cool is that, right? Like, I mean, this is a guy that I've idolized and liked for many years, and to be that cool. We even had the band that opened up for them, the Clay Ellum, came on the show. But man, Nada Surf, I'm so glad that you you gave them the time of day, to talk about, because they really are. They're more than the popular song. They're more than the MTV song. Now, when I went and saw them, they did play that song. But it really, though, it didn't steal the night. It didn't anything. It was just like all the other songs were so much better.
Well, and I think about the fact that, so the Guided by Voices guitar player is in Nada Surf now, like as a permanent fourth member. When they first started playing, Matthew had to play these super intricate guitar parts with all of this single string picking and sang at the same time. Popular in itself was probably a damn nightmare to try to speak while playing all this intricate stuff. He could do it because he's incredibly talented, but Guided by Voices had been around for a decade or something before he had probably picked up a guitar in the first place. So talk about your heroes becoming your peers. Like, he has at his disposal now one of the best and most seasoned alternative rock guitar players of all time. They're a good example too of just like, especially if you got to talk to the guy, the only reason that guy's still on stage is because that's what gives him joy in life, is to keep playing music and writing and performing. It's not about money. It's not about a record deal for him. That's his life, and he lives and breathes music. And that's something that I've always really been drawn to about certain musicians.
Yeah, he was definitely super genuine. It wasn't like I was bothering him. You know what I mean? Like I didn't even get an autograph from him. I just talked to him. You know what I mean? I wasn't over there for that. And for him to give me the time of day to just like talk about singing and life and everything else was really cool. So that just those moments like that are why when we talk about on the show why live music is so great, because you get those moments. You connect with strangers, you have all sorts of things. I could probably give you a story at every single live show that I've been to where I take something with me. Do you go to a lot of live shows, and do you have any memorable shows that you can think of that really stick out to you?
Yeah, I mean, I don't a lot. Um, I don't like arenas. I don't like uh, big outdoor festival shows. And I used to drink too much, and now I don't drink enough like to go to those things. Um, that being said, I haven't had a drink alcohol in about, oh, it'll be 2 years next month. And I'm not like in recovery or anything. I just wanted to do something different with my life. But after the world opened slightly ajar after COVID, and we were still masking up most of the places we went, I saw Devo perform at Punk Rock Bowling, and I got the most drunk in public I've ever gotten in my entire life. And that show was fucking amazing. I remember the show. Don't really remember getting back to the hotel room, but I got to see Devo perform with Josh Freese on drums shortly after he quit to join the Foo Fighters, and shortly after, shortly before Bob 2 died. So I like to think, and this is kind of what I said to my wife. I was like, Devo's playing in Vegas. I'm going to the show. I don't ever do stuff like that. I don't ever travel alone or leave the state to go see a band. But I said, this is it. I've been listening to this band since I was a middle schooler, and I'm going to see them play live, and they're probably not going to live that much longer. And I could say that I did it. So that is a very significantly wonderful show that I went to.
I love going to live shows. They're my favorite, obviously. I mean, and then the vinyl. But speaking of live shows, what do you have coming up? What is some stuff that we want to go listen to? I don't know, places, or go on Spotify and grab some songs and go down the rabbit hole.
Well, Pierre Brown, I think, is recording in November. I don't know if we're supposed to talk about it. I don't know I don't know what those guys' level of mystique is. But I think we're going to record the first record with me, with Pierre Brown. Vempire just put out a record on Friday. And we didn't realize it until I read like a little article that someone wrote about it, that our first record we ever put out actually came out a year ago, almost exactly, to this new record, which is kind of neat. So Vempire has a lot of stuff on social media and, Instagram specifically, and on the streaming services. So we're really trying to get people to listen to.
Is that the one that has the Sasquatch mix?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I have I'm going to be making an OnlyFans page. It's called Meat Feet. Can I go ahead and borrow that for my
So I'm going to, so it's a Degrassi reference. Downtown Sasquatch was the name of Spinner's band with, Drake was in it. He played bass. He didn't go by Drake yet. But yeah, that's a Degrassi song, or a Degrassi band. And I took a little clip at the beginning of that remix and of Downtown Sasquatch performing live. And I put that in that remix for some strange reason.
Well, I guess you can borrow my feet if you want to. You can use those too. Anyway, no, you don't want to. Yeah, we won't go down the Sasquatch hole.
That's what she said. First things first, Thursday First put out a record last year, and we recently made like kind of a dramatic lineup change. We had some people move away, and actually our singer Violet just sang her first show with us on Saturday in Omaha, and you could tell she was in her 20s, and by the amount of energy she still had playing outside in this heat while we all looked like we were going to barf for 30 minutes. We're writing a record. Thursday First records are incredibly difficult to record because they have Nintendo fart noises and a lot of band members to cycle through sessions to get done. So we haven't even talked about how we're going to record our new record, but it is about a beverage death race in the year 3020. And we're all cryogenically frozen up until that point so we can compete in this race, except for Violet, who is, I think, going to be in her 40s in the year 3020. Really excited to record that record. Don't know how I'm going to pay for it. So right now it's just in my dream phases of my life.
You just got to manifest it. It'll happen. Just keep manifesting that. Ask for it and something good will happen.
If somebody wants to manifest a couple G's in my Venmo account, that would be awesome.
That's what he said. I think you're going to get it. Let's manifest some G's in there.
But also, and not to, pour shit in everybody's cereal, but like a lot of our friends are dying and having rare medical episodes and terrible things that happen to people once they exceed the age of 40. So JV Allstars have been texting a lot too about like, hey, that record we always said we were going to do, when are we going to do it? And how can we do it before one of us, has a heart attack or something, which is a super sad way to think about writing music with your friends. But it's that's where we're at now.
Mike, here's what I want to say. I just listening to you so far, I want to say you just enjoying what you're doing. Like,
oh yeah,
like that. I think that's what I love the most. Like when you're really just kind of enjoying and doing what you really love to do, and you're kind of touching on every genre that you probably ever imagined. But that's what, the real love of music does. Like it takes you in so many different directions, and like I feel like you're just giving us everything you got.
Oh, thank you. I also just drank a pot of coffee, so you can take that or leave
it. I did that too. But every time before we start a show, we got to get wired up a little bit.
But there was a time in my life that I was scared to like sell myself short, or I guess that's not the right term. I was scared to have too many projects and then get distracted, I guess, or something. But I've learned, at least, especially in not drinking every night, that the more projects you have, if you have a thought or an idea for a song and you're in a whole bunch of bands at the same time, then you can place them where they need to go. And then your band, Thirst Things First, doesn't suddenly have a serious song about running your car in the garage. And then the Killigans don't have a song about scratching your butthole while wearing a spacesuit, So especially the Vempire stuff, it gave me a chance last year to start writing some pretty fucked up stuff down that I had in my brain. And I was like, okay, so I'm not hammered, and my friend Lindsay's going to sing this. So I wasn't afraid of anything anymore. I wasn't worried about someone worrying about me or somebody stumbling across my lyrics and like calling a psychiatric unit on me or something. So in itself, being able to write that stuff down and release a record and know like, okay, those thoughts are on Spotify now, I can move on to the next one, has been incredibly therapeutic for me.
Well, like Caden was saying earlier, like how do you deal with the trolls and all those people that, oh, this and that, and they don't like that. I think it's just you don't care, right? Like you just kind of say, this is my music, my art. And there's so many people out there that absolutely love it. And I don't know, how do you deal with that? You just kind of like, screw them, I'm doing my own thing. I mean, you're
sometimes
phenomenal, but everybody has to have an opinion.
Sometimes you tell them to go f themselves.
That's exactly
Uh,
right. Thank you very much. I agree with you.
but most of the time, they're so caught up in thinking that medicine is now somehow bad for us, or that certain people that should have never become president, they're so worried about that they're not really dipping into the music community anymore. So it's pretty easy, especially on stage, to just be like, "Hey, shut the fuck up, dude. Nobody likes you."
Yeah, I do like that. It's just kind of like, show more love and just get the haters out.
But I
But
also I lost my Facebook account last week or the week before, and Kane, I knew that we had been talking about doing this. That you were one of my only concerns. The AI said that I was under 13, and they permanently disabled my account. And then I got on Reddit, and apparently 100 million Facebook accounts got like falsely deactivated by their AI this in the month of July. So, and then like Mark Zuckerberg wasn't there to comment on it. I got my stuff back by like paying for Instagram Meta verified and getting that lame check mark next to my face. And then you have access to like a support team, like of human beings that you can talk to like figure your Facebook out or whatever. But once I was back, because I needed to, my wife needed to be married to a name, and my band accounts needed to be tied to someone. But once I was back in Facebook, I started to see the shit again and was just like, oh, that was a really nice break to not have to see that shit for a while.
It really is. It's so freeing. Like a lot of times I tell myself if I didn't have to promote a bunch of things, would I even be on Facebook? Like I
Mhm.
because like I have quite a few friends and but no, they're not all real friends, of course. I'm not ridiculous enough to think, oh, all 40 4,600 people are my good friends, but there's just nothing on the plate there anymore. It's just so much
Mhm.
negativity and everything. And you talked about algorithms earlier. They really do nerf you on a lot of different. You're not wrong about my mom. God bless her heart. She likes everything that I do. Right? She always shares. She might even be the only one sometimes. But then I think that because she does that, just like you said, it's like, oh, old person here. She's 70. We don't want to push what she's doing because she's not in the.
Mhm.
So there is something to be said about that. I know that our time is unfortunately coming to an end. There's so much to talk to you about, and I'm sorry I kind of fangirled out on you about a Vampire and stuff. I really am a true fan. Like if I can buy a T-shirt from you guys or support you guys merch wise or whatever, I'm all for it, man. But we're just so glad to have you on the show.
Time always flies. Kane, captain the ship and get us out of here.
oh yes.
Thanks for letting me show my weird to you. I appreciate it.
Dude, I love weird. That's weird. I love it.
I think before we started, we told her like Mikey fits right in with our group here. That's for sure.
You've been an awesome guest. I wish this would continue on even further, but like all things, this good thing has to come to an end. So all you people out there, the Lincolnites, the Nebraskans, the people listening, the millions and millions at home, we've once again proved to you why this little area of the world is one of the most talented and one of the most interesting when it comes to music of anywhere on earth. So tune in next week and we'll give you another example as we provide you with the best of the best. So we'll catch you on the flip side next week here on
Scratch the vinyl.
Man, that was another epic interview. Love talking to Mikey. He was great. Now let's talk about some of our sponsors. Our sponsors are also great, and I've got a lot to say, so let's get going here. So first off, Roots Music Shop, everybody. If you need your instruments fixed, especially your guitars or the electronics in it, or an amp fixed or any of that stuff, or if you just want to get a guitar and just carry it around with you and instantly be like cool or something, you should probably go to Roots Music Shop, talk to Ryan, tell him the Scratch the Vinyl sent you. We also have Lil Bill's Barbecue. Where do you find Lil Bill's Barbecue? You find it, the barbecue sauce of your dreams. Let me tell you, there's like 8 or 9 different sauces. I suggest you buy them all, but you can get them on Facebook Marketplace only right now. Get a hold of them, and you will not be disappointed. I've been telling you guys, I've literally been soaking my eyes in it. I've been drinking it. I've been pouring it over my head, and I've been the envy of the town at every single barbecue and place that I've been. So you want to do that too? Get yourself some Little Bill's Barbecue. Backtrack Records, we love that place. The thing that I love the most about it is that they have so many great records for such great prices. And this is the selling point for me. They open the earliest out of all of the other stores, and they're open on Mondays. So 10 a.m. they're open. You can go there if you're feeling you want to scratch that itch and get those records. That is a place to go. So go to Backtrack Records, Slying Tattoo, get those tattoos with Bryce. He's the best in the business. Honorable mention, Kelly's Pub, Madson's Bowling and Billiards. That's all we got for this week, everybody. So I hope you enjoyed the show. Please continue enjoying it. And we would like you guys to subscribe to all of our different socials at Scratch the Vinyl Podcast everywhere. And please go to our YouTube. We need it, everybody. We need your help. And I swear we can get some swag out to some people if we get a high enough number here. We need to get to at least 500 to 1,000 subscribers ASAP. So we need you guys. Go there, go to YouTube. It's not hurting anything. And subscribe to our channel at Scratch the Vinyl Podcast. And you will not be disappointed. I've got tons of cool clips. So thank you guys for listening. We will catch you on the flip side next week.